All right, hello.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. How about you?
I'm okay.
That's good. That's good. All right. So in terms of presentation stuff, let's see. The screen settings should be set up that you should be allowed to both share your screen and record. Speaking of recording, you are required to record the presentation. What that means is just one of you is going to have to press the record and then click record to this computer or whatever the word is in Zoom, and it should record it for you automatically. Then once the meeting ends, you should then have access to that recording. So you should upload that recording to YouTube and then provide a YouTube link as a comment on the assignment where you submitted your slides. It can be an unlisted video if you want, if that matters to you for whatever reason. Um, Other than that, we should be ready to get going whenever you have your screen share with slides set up and the recording started. You can go ahead and get started.
Cool. Okay. Um, can you guys see my screen share?
I can. Donald, it said that I requested to
Oh,
record.
I forgot to give that spiel right. It's lying to you. It did not. Um, so I'm going to toggle the setting off and back on again. Now try pressing it again.
Okay.
And then it just magically works. Great. I don't know why
All
it
good.
exists. Uh,
We're rolling.
all
Cool.
right. So, yep, whenever you're ready to get started, looks like everything's set up. So go ahead.
You guys can see my slide, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So, hi, my name's Aaron, and with me are my teammates Edward, Justin, and Cohen. Today, we are excited to present our action proposal for the library management system you requested.
The issue you provided us was that you have a library that requires efficient and streamlined management. Our objective is to create an online system that addresses your management challenges by providing comprehensive tracking and management functionalities to assist library members and staff.
To achieve this, we plan to develop a web-based management system. This system will handle user authentication with robust security measures, manage resources of various types, and facilitate library events, ensuring easy access and convenience for all members. The system will be designed to allow for different types of users, including members, employees, and administrators, to have accounts with appropriate permissions. This ensures that each user has access to the resources and functionalities they need while maintaining security and privacy. We are committed to ensuring that the system is in fact efficient across the entire technology stack, from the database to the user interface. This will provide a smooth and seamless experience for all users, with a strong emphasis on security and performance.
For the front end, we will be using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. On the back end, we will leverage Python to handle the core functionalities of the system. The frameworks we have chosen includes React for the front end, which will help us create a dynamic and responsive user interface. For the backend, we will use Flask, a lightweight and flexible web framework, and SQLite as our database for efficient data management. To ensure our development process is organized and collaborative, we will be using Git for version control. Additionally, Trello will be our project management tool, helping us keep track of tasks and deadlines efficiently. And on this slide, we could see the architectural design for the languages and frameworks we mentioned. This design outlines how we plan to implement the system, ensuring that each component integrates seamlessly with the other. We plan to use React.js to create an interface that interacts smoothly with the backend. This will allow for dynamic updates and a responsive user experience, enhancing the overall usability of the system.
We've chosen Flask as our web framework due to its simplicity and flexibility, making it ideal for our needs. To manage our database interactions efficiently, we have chosen to use SQL Alchemy, which provides a powerful ORM for handling complex queries and database transactions. The backend is responsible for handling our user authentication, ensuring secure access to our system. It also manages all transactions between the front end and the database, ensuring data consistency and integrity across our application. For our database components of our architecture, we are using SQLite as our database as it is a lightweight and efficient solution that integrates with Flask. SQLite is perfect for our application as it requires very little setup and maintenance while providing great performance. It stores a variety of data. For our purposes, it will be users, books, reservations, reviews, and events. This setup allows us to maintain a well-organized and easily accessible database, which is very important for the functioning of our system. Now, for the communication flow within our system, the front end communicates with the back end via HTTP requests, sending data and action requests to be processed. Upon receiving these requests, the back end interacts with the database, performing necessary operations like retrieving, updating, and adding data to the database. After the processing is done, the back end formulates a response in JSON format, which is then sent to the front end. This allows for efficient data exchange and a good user interaction within our application.
Let's meet the team behind our project. First, we have Justin, our Scrum Master and a skilled backend developer. He will ensure that our development process is smooth and efficient while also contributing to the server-side code. Next in line is Edward, our front-end developer and UI/UX designer. Edward ensures that our user interface is visually appealing and also intuitive and user-friendly. Next is Cohen, the back-end developer and quality assurance tester. He works on the back-end as well. In addition to his development work, he ensures that our code is reliable and bug-free. Finally, we have Aaron, our front-end developer. He designs and implements the architecture that underprints our user-facing components and ensures that it is a seamless experience for all our users.
Now let's highlight the key points of a risk management plan. One potential issue is the challenge of integrating Flask with React. This has a moderate probability and a tolerable effect. To address this issue, we will implement a clear API design to ensure smooth communication between the two frameworks. Another concern is security risks related to protecting user data, which has a moderate probability but a serious to catastrophic effect. To mitigate this, we will leverage the robust security features provided by Flask and SQL Alchemy, such as authentication, data encryption, input validation, and so on. Another concern is the risk of underestimating the project size or the time required for specific tasks. This is moderately probable and has a tolerable effect. If this occurs, we will reassess the remaining project timeline and reallocate tasks for the current and next sprints accordingly. Lastly, there's a risk that the software may end up being too slow or inefficient after implementation. The risk is moderate with a tolerable effect. Our QA tester will identify inefficiencies and the team will then work on optimizing the involved code.
So on this slide, we could see that here are some of our highlighted user stories to contextualize the structure of our system. Our story card 1.1 sets into motion that as a potential library customer, the customer would like to create an account so that they can use the library services. Some requirements include the info that they might need to make an account and the actions that they could take with the library account. We address those problems by including the fields for username, password, email, and other details that may be relevant depending on the library. Additionally, after registering as a library member, we should be able to view the library stock, search for the supply, pull books for checkout, and view the calendar. Another example user story will be the function of adding new resources. This involves the role of a worker where we want to add new resources into the library database. Some points to consider are what information is required to add a new resource and can different employees add different types of resources. Our solution to these concerns will be that resource workers must register the title, author, genre, type, description, number of copies, and other relevant details to add a new resource. Additionally, employees should be able to add all types of resources like books, DVDs, etc.
This slide contains our product backlog, with our first example category being user authentication and account management, where we can see the previously highlighted user story with 8 points. Additionally, we also have a user story that addresses the role of admins who manage the creation of worker accounts to maintain the system, which is an estimate of 8 story points as well. Our second example category is resource management, where our user stories include adding new resources to the library system as an employee and updating the status and details of library resources. These have a respective 13 and 8 story points tied to them. Our last example category is user interface and experience. In this user story, we make sure that users have easy navigation and use with the application. This is not as time intensive as our previous ones, so we have an estimate of 5 for our story points.
For our first sprint, we have some general tasks in mind. We will try to go over project planning in order to achieve our major goals and organization using the project management software. Then we plan to set up our backend with the necessary libraries, set up the front end with React, and then connect the front end to the backend and test it by making some simple requests back and forth. The bulk of Sprint 0 will go towards implementing library authentication and sign-on, and implementing library resource management so that members can add and check out books. Both of the aforementioned tasks require collaboration between front end and back end.
That's the end of our presentation. Yeah.
So, the presentation looked good. I don't think there was anything that was major that was missing or that I had actually questions or comments on really. Things here. Let me just pull up the slides and double check really quick. Yeah, I think everything looks good.
Cool.
Yeah, so basically I don't really have any questions or comments. So one thing I'm gonna say is make sure that when you upload and add a link as a comment on the assignment for the slide submission for the recording. And other than that, you should be good. There are 2 assignments that are due this week. They are about the group projects, but they are individual assignments, so you each have to do them. They're very short. It's not actually like an assignment. It's like the individual contribution report. So just what did you do out of the things that your team did this week on Sprint 0? What did you do? And then the peer evaluations are just rating yourself and your teammates on how they did in Sprint 0. Standard stuff. So it should be very quick. Just make sure you do both of them. They are due next. I haven't heard back on the due date because they still had last semester's due dates when the module was released. So I set it to the default the next Wednesday, but that does put it being due during break. I think that's probably fine given that the assignments are really quick to finish, but the deadline may move. But you should be able to knock them out in a couple minutes. So just be aware that those are there.
Cool. Okay. When does Sprint 0, are we in Sprint 0 now, or does it start
Sprint
Monday?
0, no, so Sprint 1 starts Monday. Sprint 0 is the stuff doing now. So the stuff you have listed as a Sprint 0 backlog should probably be a Sprint 1 backlog. But
okay, I didn't realize that. Yeah. Makes sense though.
Yeah, no, it's talking about Sprint 0 is weird because it's not an actual sprint. It's just all of the stuff.
Gotcha.
And it's called Sprint 0 because I don't know why. I didn't make that decision.
The jog.
Yeah. So but yeah, no, that's minor semantic thing that I really could not care less about. So I wasn't even going to comment on it, honestly. But yeah, so Sprint 1 starts the Monday that we get back from break. So this is week 6, week 7 is break, and then week 8 is the beginning of Sprint 1.
Okay.
Cool.
Right.
For the recording where we put the link in YouTube and everything, when I cut it up, do you want me to include any of the discussion section before or back behind it, or just trim it for straight the presentation?
Either is probably fine, including it really doesn't matter. It's not getting, in all likelihood, it won't get watched.
Okay.
It's mostly there as a thing to have a reference to, so that way, like, if at some point something comes up of like, oh well, I took off points because you didn't include X thing, and then you think you did include X thing, you can go back and point at the presentation and say it's there. Or like if I realize I forgot to write down something in my notes and I need to go back and check if it was there or not, I can go do that. But for the vast majority of cases, it's probably not going to get referenced. So it's not that big of a deal. If you want to just upload it entirely unedited, that is totally fine as well.
Cool.
Cool. Sounds
Just
good.
honestly, whatever is easiest for you, pretty much.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead. Is the next group in here yet? I don't think so. But either way. Yeah. So I think that should be everything. So have a good break.
Thank you.
You as well.
too.
Thank you too.